Can everybody hear me now? Huntsville Expo, where are you? Give me some noise! All right, so I'm Cupster with Cupster Cosmic Photography. I was asked to moderate the Disney panel. Who's ready? I don't hear you. Who's ready? Here we go. Who's ready? Come on. All right.
Okay, we have the mic.
Okay.
The richest duck in the world over there.
All
I
right.
gave that duck a dime earlier today.
Oh,
You'll
he's
never
gonna
get
keep
it back.
it. Never get it back. Right?
All right. So, first time moderating, so please bear with me. Please give a warm welcome to these guys right here. Thank you. So, proper introductions first, and I'll pass down the mic. Well, there's a mic right there.
This one?
Okay,
Yeah.
we got a mic, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I am Bradley Pierce. I was the original voice of Chip the Teacup in the Disney animated movie Beauty and the Beast. And I've done some other stuff with Disney. I was the voice of Nibs in Return to Neverland. Woo! There we go. The one person saw it. And I've done a bunch of other stuff, additional background voicing and stuff like that in Kingdom Hearts games and things like that. And I'm going to pass this on to
Say, Mom, there's a girl in the castle.
I can't do that in the voice anymore. You
No,
know
but
it.
no, but do it like as close as you can.
Mom, there's a girl in the castle.
Why not? Again, yeah.
Yeah, I get that voice all the time, and unfortunately, I can't do mine anymore.
Because of puberty. That's fine.
Yeah,
It happens to all of us.
That screws up a lot
Not all
of
of us.
careers. You know.
Hi everybody, I'm Brett Island, but you probably know me as Mickey Mouse.
Hold on. Yeah. Say some imagination, huh?
Some imagination, huh?
I'm Bill Farmer, and I've kind of cornered the dog market at Disney, I guess, because of these two guys, Goofy and Pluto, and gosh, howdy, everybody. And I never get to talk about my live action series on Disney Plus called It's a Dog's Life.
It's really
with Bill
good.
Farmer. It's like real dogs, not animated. So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Say waterfall. Waterfall.
Waterfall? Waterfall! And here is my son.
Dad, that's my favorite line in the movie. What's happening? Jason Marsden here, voice of Max, Goof, and a few other things, and I'm happy to be here with y'all. Yeah, man.
All right. So I'm very excited just to see my childhood right here. Look, it shows my age though. So don't tell nobody. All right, let's give it one more round of applause to these guys right here. Thank you. All right, so let's start with Mr. Marston over here. How do you like voicing your character?
I love it.
Yeah? Tell me the best part about it, though.
Best part about voicing my character?
Yeah.
Man, you're playing pretend. I mean, anyone here who's watched cartoons is probably like, in the car ride, to school, doing the voices and whatnot. And I get to do it as like for real, like as a living. And then I get to work with like people I listen to, and now they're my friends. It's the perks just keep going on and on, man.
All right.
You did not like that answer. Okay. I'll try. Yeah, no, I hate it.
Oh, I did. No. All right, Mr. Farmer, how about you?
Well, I mean, Goofy was my favorite Disney character growing up. So getting a chance to even audition for that character was a big thrill. And to get to do it for the last 36 years and continue to do it has been a lifelong dream for, I think, about any voice actor. It's Disney, unlike any of their studios, is like more like a family than a workplace, really. You become close with the actors as friends, and you see them off camera and at your house and parties and things like that. It's much more intimate than that. And it's been, and hearing from you guys is amazing. The stories I've heard today about how some of these characters have changed your life and been important, different places in your life. It's just, yeah, it's fantastic. And I wouldn't trade it for $100.
Right.
I'll put my 100 away.
I got 101. 101.
Are we going down the line with the same questions?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think my answer is very similar to what you just heard from these two gentlemen. For me, I'm a huge Disney fan, specifically a huge Mickey fan, and even bigger Walt Disney fan. So to do a job that Walt himself did, as one of the first voice actors ever, it's pretty special and it's very surreal. But much like Bill said, I think the best part about voicing a character like this is the connection that you share with the fans, and how important these characters mean to everybody, ourselves included. And, I'm the fourth person to voice Mickey. There's going to be several after me. So, we play a very small part in that legacy. And it's just pretty cool to think about how impactful these characters are, and you get to just have fun while you're partnering with them, really,
Yeah.
I have been voice acting since I was 7 years old. So I don't have that. Like, I grew up watching this and I don't have that connection. But my favorite part about it is being able to connect with people older than me, younger than me, in my age range with all of their different memories of it. I realized the reason I love doing conventions in general, and the beauty of voice acting has brought me into that, is when I am telling stories and answering questions and interacting with fans, with you guys, it takes me back to those memories too. And something I started doing today is I said, hey, you remember that museum you went to in 6th grade? None of you remember that until I asked you about it. It's the same with the stories that we get to tell about our work. It reminds us of great times in our past and in our history, and we can connect with all of you in that little way, in that little moment. That's what's special about it too.
Awesome. So now that you have the mic, though, what's the difference between voice acting and acting? It's the night and day, though, right?
There are huge differences. The biggest is with voice acting, you usually are doing one line at a time. Sometimes you're doing full scenes, but it's usually you do one, you do 3 different versions of it, you take some notes, you do it again, and you keep doing it until that line is right. Live action, you're doing the whole scene, start to finish. I mean, then theater is even a progression beyond that, where you're doing the entire show. So being able to really get into every little bit of every line is the biggest difference with voiceover versus regular acting. Because you got to get every piece of it right, because otherwise it doesn't work.
Question for Mr. Farmer. What is like the best experience as a voice actor you ever had?
Gosh.
I mean, I know there's plenty of them, but pick one. Pick one of your favorites.
The best experience? Oh my gosh. It's really hearing stories from the fans. I remember a story, couple of stories really, is meeting some celebrities along the way. And the best story that I have about that, I got to meet Muhammad Ali ago in Florida. And I was a big fan of his, of course, and I told him what I did, and he asked me, well, do you like talking to kids in hospitals? And I said, well, yeah, I do from time to time. And he shook my hand and said, man, then you're my hero. And I about fainted right there. And that brings back, there was a child, and we talk to famous phone friends, have Make-A-Wish Foundation, things like that. I'll call, want to talk to Mickey and Donald, Goofy, and all of that. And someone was talking to Mickey, Wayne Allwine, who preceded Brett, and there was a little kid that had leukemia. And her mother explained that she had been rejecting the treatment and all of that kind of stuff. But she talked to Mickey, and Mickey probably said, and I'll have him do it in his voice, and it says, well, when Pluto is sick, he takes his medicine. So it would sound like, well, when Pluto's sick, he
make sure to take his medicine, and then he feels all better.
And I did that. And then about 3 months later, we got a letter from the mother who had said that because of that 1 or 2 lines, that little comment, that the child went into remission. Her whole attitude became different about taking the medication, the chemotherapy, and whatever. And she got better. And so that right there really solidified the power that these characters have. And I don't take that lightly. They are more than just lines on a paper. They have a power of their own. And the more I do this and the more I interact with fans, the more I realize that. And I don't lose that. And that really, over the years, has been some of the most amazing experiences I've had.
Yeah, it's really makes you a better person, knowing that you make the difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I'm still a shitty person.
Oh, no.
I'm trying.
Come on, it's your turn now. Come on, share your best
I'm
experience
trying.
now. Okay? Share your best experience now.
My best experience.
Yes.
There's so many to choose. And I was thinking about that time that we went to Disney World to do some sort of promotion. There's a lot of voice actors there. It was Wayne and Lucy.
Yeah.
It was Susan Blakesley, who's Cruella. Jennifer Hale, who was the voice of Cinderella. And they all why don't you go over to Radio Disney and MGM Studios and go on the air? Like, okay. So we gathered there. We saw Julie Andrews. Remember?
Yes, I met her there.
Met her. That was fun. And then we all go on the air in character for the enjoyment of all the boys and girls, and we're improvising as we do. And so Mickey and Minnie are saying hello, Goofy's saying hello, Pluto, and then but Cruella's there, and she's very upset that Pluto's there, and Susan Blakesley says something about like wanting to turn Pluto into a coat. So we're laughing because it's funny to us. And then moments later, after we're off the air, they get a phone call on the station. This mom calling saying, "My 4-year-old daughter's freaking out because she thinks Cruella is going to turn Pluto into a coat." And to show how Lucy Taylor, the kind of person that she was, almost like, I got this. She put her finger up. I got this. Went back on the air. She came back on as Minnie and all of us together. And Minnie explained this little girl, talked to her on a little girl and said, hey, I'm so happy that you're listening to us. And listen, Pluto is right here, and Pluto's barking, and Cruella's here too. And we were just teasing. Cruella has, she's got a lot of personality, but she doesn't have a lot of hate in her heart. And kind of talk this girl off the ledge, like everything's fine.
It's live on radio.
And I was getting emotional. I think it's when I finally realized, like, wow, look at the impact that we do make, that we can't make. Yeah, it's these fun little experiences.
What about you, Brett?
Oh man. Let's see. What can I say that hasn't already been said? So as somebody who was not planning to be a voice actor, I went to school for illustration. I'm an artist and a designer, and that's where I saw my life trajectory going. So when I got to step into this role, I mean, it's been nonstop surprise experience after surprise experience. Being friends with these guys, meeting other actors and people that I've always watched on screen and admired, and then just being put in different situations where we're, at a special event at Disneyland or we're at Disney World or whatnot. There's so many different things. And not to steal a page from these guys' books, but, I think the most impactful moments have to be those when you're really connecting with either a Make-A-Wish call or something. I recently, not to break it down, but I did just do a special message for somebody. And I couldn't get through the message without bawling my eyes out. Because it really did hit me once again as a reminder that people connect with these characters on a level that's not just, haha, I'm watching something on screen and it's making me feel good. Like, they have a personal connection. And when somebody's in a really dire situation and they request to receive a message from Mickey or talk to Mickey, that just tells you how important that relationship is. But then I've also had amazing, personal full circle moments where, again, that Disney fan in me gets to go voice a show like Fantasmic that as a kid, I spent, all day at Disneyland looking forward to that show coming on out of the Rivers of America. So now I still watch it and I get goosebumps and I'm like, oh, well, that's me contributing to that part of the magic. So I think, it's the realization that we get to be a part of the magic. and there's no guarantee how long we get to do it. So you just kind of
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like each project comes along, I'm like, yes. Do you want to do a Huggies commercial? Yes, I do. Do you want to do a talking? What did I do? I did like a rice cooker one time, which I still don't understand the need for a talking Mickey rice cooker. It's like,
Ding, it's done.
I'm waiting for the air fryer. Yeah. So,
Now, do you ever have fun with people like at drive-thrus and stuff?
okay.
I know you do. I know
I
you
am
do.
not a YouTube star, so I have not taken that talent and used it for that purpose. Plus, Mickey is a voice, and Bill's told me that Wayne said this all the time. I guess Wayne would say, I wish I did a voice that not everybody can do, because everybody comes up and does their high-pitched falsetto voice as Mickey, right? So, believe it or not, if I've been in situations where a friend's been like, and this is Brett, he does Mickey, come on, do it. I've had people go, that's okay. Or, my grandma can do that. I'm like, okay, great.
Right?
Oh, word.
Right.
I have an IMDb. So grandpa have a Wikipedia? I don't think so. Maybe he does, I don't know. So yeah, I haven't used it for those purposes.
No. Okay.
I've
All
only
right.
used my powers for good.
Right. Well, good. That's good to hear. Let's get some audience's questions. So there's a microphone in the back, and please line up. We have one.
Scrooge McDuck checking.
Scrooge McDuck. All right. So he did send me the question. I got it. He did send me the
Next
question.
time I fight the Beagle Boys,
He said
I
if,
recommend that I use firepower.
if you had an opportunity to voice any Disney characters of any franchise, which one will you voice and why?
Oh,
Mickey Mouse.
I think I would actually switch to one of the newer franchises, and I think I would either voice something in the Marvel or Star Wars.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know what exactly. I don't know where I fit in that because there's so much diversity, but I would try to switch over to that side of things, I think.
To the dark side? Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like there's some dark side happening in here.
Right.
I wanted to mention too, if any of you are not familiar with Famous Phone Friends, it is probably my favorite charity I've ever worked with. I haven't done work with them in a long time because, again, I can't do the voice of Chip and nobody cares if I call them like this. But I did do it for a few years when I could, and it is a fantastic organization and a fantastic charity and it's worth looking into for everybody out there. It's just beautiful.
right on.
Anybody else?
Forgot what the question was.
Who do you want to
If you
voice
could-
other than
Oh,
Goofy?
anyone, just a paycheck. No.
Anything.
No, I mean, all of us, I think we do our own little impressions of different voices on the television, and just the work is exciting. And it totally depends on the procedure. There are some that are easier than others. I mean, of the ones I've done, in Space Jam, I did Yosemite Sam. That's a killer on your throat. And so, you do that really loud for about an hour, you're so an easy to do voice. My own voice
Oh,
would be
there you
great.
go.
If it
Yeah.
got famous, yeah, I'd do my own.
See that happening.
All right. Next question, please.
Thanks, Scrooge.
Thank you,
Thank
Scrooge.
Thank you, Scrooge.
Good question.
Big fan.
You know that?
Hello.
Yes.
So this question goes out specifically to Mr. Farmer.
Mr. Farmer.
As an experienced voice actor, what were some of the 3 biggest obstacles you faced during your career?
Biggest obstacles you faced during your career?
Getting more jobs. No, it's just getting, there is a little bit of, people always come up and say, oh, I didn't know you did Space Jam. I didn't know you did this and everything, is letting people know that you can do more than what you are known for. People, oh, he does Goofy, but can he do anything else? And we're all actors. And as we were talking about earlier, the acting is the most important part. I had classes from a guy, Dawes Butler, who did a lot of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons in the early days. And he was the first one to say that it is voice acting, not voice acting, emphasis on acting. Because a lot of people can do the voice, the physical voice, but there's no life to the character. And it is a different thing when you're in the booth and they give you, okay, go to line 7. You know, where's Mickey? How you doing? Well, I don't know the way that Brett said the line or how you doing, Goof, and unless I hear a playback, and if I'm in the booth first, that doesn't exist yet. So to imagine in your mind the scene and to bring it to life, those words off the page, is the hardest part of voice acting and giving it, life and a reality. And that's the hard part. It's the acting. So when I have students and they say, how do you get into this business? I always say, take acting lessons, because the acting will go farther than the voice alone will, because there's a lot of great voice actors that are on a lot of series that use their own voice, and it's totally being driven. Rob Paulson always tells, he says, I don't really do voices. He does characters, and there's a difference. He doesn't do voices, but he inhabits those characters so completely that they're so believable that they're unforgettable, if that made sense.
Great answer.
Perfect sense.
All right.
Thanks.
Next question.
What's happening, pal?
Can you hear me real good?
Yep.
Yep,
Yes.
we got that.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I have a question for me and also for my friend that it should be recorded. So, all right.
Sounds great.
Okay, start with that. So since characters like Mickey and Goofy all them are almost by design meant to be placed in different settings here, like I know Billy, you're been on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Kingdom Hearts. So like when you do these different, versions of the characters, do you think of them as the same character in different settings or as two separate characters?
Good question.
I've been on those shows too.
Yeah. I was just going to say that in like the Mickey shorts, which are kind of drawn differently, it's kind of like a separate reality, a parallel universe as it was. And Goofy, it's not the traditional Goofy. It is the dippy dog Goofy. It's kind of the 1930s Goofy. I look at it a little different. I look at it that it's more dippy dog than Goofy, and so I can wrap my mind around little bit different personality, but pretty much the same voice. And so, yeah, and every new show seems to have its own kind of vibe and its own flavor that you got to get into, and you get into kind of a rhythm, and you can switch back and forth pretty easily.
I always go back to how Walt described Mickey as a little personality assigned to the purpose of laughter. And he was an everyman, right? So I really look at Mickey as an actor who's aware that he's playing different roles. Like if he's at the clubhouse, his role is to teach some valuable lessons to the kids watching, right? His audience. If he's in Kingdom Hearts, his role is to kick some beep. So there's a difference there, right? It's like,
Can you find the red triangle bush?
versus, look out, Sora! Yeah, that's how I look at it. Sorry for my scratchy voice.
Anyway, my friend's question was simply, what's Kingdom Hearts being on that like?
Oh, well, what's really exciting about it is Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk? I'm just kidding.
That was rude.
We know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Very
That'll be on YouTube. Yeah, that'll do.
Kingdom Hearts is great. I was kind of late to the party because there was 2 games before I got involved. But it is a really interesting process because it's all done over in Japan first. The animation, the voice acting, and then when we get it, or when we come in, we're dubbing our voices on top of the animation that's been done. So there's some restrictions in the timing, and Bill, you do a good job of describing how that fits in.
Well, the differences between Japanese and English come into play when you're doing that, because we are hearing the Japanese actors, and there's the Japanese voice of Goofy who's learned how to do the laugh and everything by listening to me, and I'm doing it back, translating it from Japanese into English. And the length of words seems to be different in Japanese, because I'll hear the Japanese Goofy say, "Oh, konnichiwa," and then, okay, what's the translation? And they say, "Hey, Mickey, let's go and find Sora and, kill the Heartless," or whatever. And so, but we got to put it in the same amount of time that the Japanese actor did, so they don't have to reanimate everything. And that gets to be a little weird. So if it sounds in that game like we're rushing it a little bit, we are.
Yeah. Or slowing it down. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you.
Hi.
What's happening?
So I know throughout a Goofy movie, and maybe I think an extremely Goofy movie, we've heard Goofy do it multiple times, a laugh. But I noticed there was one time in a Goofy movie that Max does a laugh.
Yeah.
So I'm asking Jason, can you do the Goofy laugh?
I yucking can. And I learned it by this guy. Max wasn't intentionally supposed to be doing that, but when we were recording together, and I just watched you do it, and I'm like, just putting this like he's regurgitating a laugh. It's great. Whole body into it. So it's one of the things I would just go home after a session and just kind of do it. And then I thought there's some scenes where Max, might, as he's getting older through puberty, one thing that might happen is like he might, as it start laughing like his dad, which would be his worst nightmare. And that's what they kind of based they heard me do that, implemented in the movie and kind of shaped that opening around. But here we go. Sorry, I got extra phlegm in there because I have a cold. Hey, yeah, you guys want this back? Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I just to add one thing, I understand in that particular scene, the opening of Goofy movie.
Oh, that's right.
That it's actually both of us.
It's a hybrid of
It's
us.
a hybrid. Max starts out and it melds into Goofy. So part of that's me, part of that's you. So it's
Yes.
kind of a mixture.
When he's in the dream sequence and he's turning into Goofy and he regurgitates the yuck, it starts off as me, and then it finishes with big powerful Bill.
Awesome. Next, please.
Hi, so if you could be any other character than the character of this R&R, what would it be?
We'd all be Mickey.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust me, he's telling the truth. Everyone wants my job.
Yeah, Mickey would be he's a great character. Yeah, of course. I'd all love to be Mickey.
Yeah. The one character I've always wished I could do was Jiminy Cricket.
Oh,
I think that'd be fun.
Oh, sure. Hey there, Pinocchio.
I practice it, but I'm not going to do it now. 'Cause I didn't practice.
For another Disney movie, I would want to, I'd want to be Peter Pan. I feel like he's a good voice, and Peter Pan's one of my favorite of the older catalog. So that would be my choice.
Good choice.
Next, please.
Okay, this is if you want to do it or if you think you're up to it, but do any of you want to crack at impersonating each other's iconic voices?
Wow.
Okay. Sure. I've never heard you're Goofy.
You haven't?
Gorge. Let me see.
Stop it.
You do that well.
Just have a cold. Okay. Stop explaining yourself. Just do it, Marsden.
There's a girl in the castle.
That was so bad. I'm sorry.
Do you feel the trepidation, like the intimidation we all just felt doing that? Do you feel that?
And I had one other thing, Bill, if you're up to this, could we get the Goofy yell?
Oh, okay. There's a little story behind it, the Goofy yell. That was really the hardest thing in the audition to get, because you have to do it just as loud as you possibly can. And for the first many years, if it's a new engineer, I got to do it at least twice, because the first one I say, this is really loud. And they say, I got this, and then you do it and they go, geez, and then I'll turn down the volume. Okay, do it again. But it's, and I don't know why they don't just library this and use the same one over and over, but they have me do it every
Because
week.
you wanted a paycheck.
Well, I want a paycheck, but, I'd still get it without
I
doing
know,
that.
but still.
It's like,
Would
Thank you so much. Who's next?
That's why we get floated around the country, folks.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here today. I also, as a Disney adult, emphasis on the Disney and very little on the adult. I want to thank you for being a part of my life, being a part of the life of everybody in here. From films that I watched at the video store and you grew up in, to sitting at home and sitting with my wife and going, okay, you haven't seen this one? Sit down. That being said, I'd like to know, who do we talk to about getting the Weekenders on Disney?
Ha! You know what's funny? As a matter of fact, does anyone know what does everyone know what show he's talking about? The Weekenders? Yes. So I get that question almost every time I go to a con, and I thought, no, I should just contact Doug Langdale, who created the show.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't talked to him in a while, and see if he knows. And I messaged him on Thursday when we got here, and I was like, "Hey man, what's going on? I hope you're groovy. What's going on? Any people keep asking me about Weekenders? Do you know?" And he responded immediately. He said, "OMG, I have no idea." He's like, "Nobody tells me anything. He doesn't even know the executives anymore over there. He and his partner have since moved on to other things, and it's in the hands of who knows. It's on a shelf somewhere. But if you like the Weekenders and it's something you want to see on Disney Plus, it does not hurt to mention that in your social media.
Yeah.
Make sure you tag Disney Plus.
Also,
Yeah.
there is, and don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on the specifics of this, but if you're on Disney Plus, there is a way to submit the content you want to see.
Oh, really?
So, like, Google it. I know people have YouTube videos about how to do it. But you can go in and you can say, like, this request content, and the more you type it in, the more. I mean, I'm assuming, yeah.
Dig it.
Again, I'm no authority. I'm just a corporate mascot.
All right, who's next?
Hey everyone, so I know it's already been mentioned before a couple of times, but how has it felt dealing with almost the subculture of what Kingdom Hearts is, with like Disney?
What was that?
What's it feel like to experience the subculture of Kingdom Hearts? I'm going to say intimidating.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, I feel like a letdown when you guys asked me how much. Somebody came up today, and this was the best way this question's ever been posed. He said, "What percentage of the story do you actually get from Kingdom Hearts?" And I paused for a moment, and I thought, do I lie? I get 0% of the story. And that truthfully is because I'm terrible at video games, so I've never attempted to play. And also, the process to which we're brought in doesn't allow as much insight into the game. We get our lines, and we get a little context to the scenes, but we are like whisked through that so quickly, we never really get to know what's going on.
Yeah, the book in the of the script is really thick. It's got like hundreds of pages because whatever the character is going to do. So it's basically you go to page 16, line 87 and 8, and then I do it. And then it's on to 168, go to page 87, go to page 150, all the way through in a 4-hour shift, as it were. And you might go back 5-6 times to finish the whole game, and you just don't get a sense of anything, you know? You don't get any kind of continuity, and all the other words are in Japanese, so I don't understand them anyway. So it's really just kind of, okay, was that okay? And then, yeah, it was good. You know, let's move on. Okay, that's about all we know, really.
And I think it's done on purpose because we sign an NDA when we record that, and then we're under very strict rules not to talk about what we've done. So the less we know, the better it is for us.
We're kept stupid on purpose.
Yeah, it's not our fault. It's not our fault.
When you say you don't know, you're being truthful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Who's next?
Good question.
Hello.
Somebody slide that mic down to her. Thanks, Scrooge.
There you go.
Hello, lovely. Yeah, every mic.
Your characters say ordering a pizza.
What would your character say ordering a pizza?
That's an easy one for me.
Hey, Dad, can I order a pizza? I need your credit card.
Gosh, I don't know where my credit card is.
Guys, can I get in on this? I'll take one large extra cheese, please.
God, I wish I could do the voice again. don't like Hawaiian here in the castle.
Oh. An extra
I
cheese.
could. I tried to do that voice again for Enchanted Christmas. It was only like 3 years after the original recording, but my voice had changed enough that I couldn't do it. I could do the pitch, or I could do the texture and the acting, but I couldn't do both. So I did not get the opportunity to do the voice anymore after that. They brought in a bunch of talented folks. Haley Joel Osment did Enchanted Christmas. Jonathan Lipnicki did the other sequel. It was a lot of fun, but I'm personally anti-Hawaiian. That was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, quick one. Since a lot of you guys are, your comfort zone is lighthearted Disney characters who just do their things in really cartoony, sort of over-dramatic ways. What's it like whenever you get out of your comfort zones and do something more serious or, I guess, broken-hearted, for lack of a better term? Like, Miss Bonner, for use you an example, the one amphibia episode, I think it was after the rain was called. Your Ottawa, your hot pop performance, giving that breaking point at the end of the episode, genuinely, seriously still hurts me to listen to every time. How do you get around that kind of stuff when you don't do it very often?
Well, it's taking a character into unknown charted territories. It wasn't too hard with Pop Pop because I got to create the voice. And yeah, I don't know. I just could get emotional and just do it. Goofy was different because he had never really had any emotional scenes before we did a Goofy movie, and that was new territory. And how do you do that with keeping this iconic character? It's sounding like Goofy, and you're not losing the character, and you're doing the emotions. And that took a while to kind of find. And so I guess it's just it's a challenge, but it's kind of a fun challenge too, to see if you can do it. And the thing about recording voiceover is you can have a take 2, you can have a take 3, a take 18, whatever it takes to get that. And sometimes you use those kind of things. Wayne Allwine, who Some Imagination Hunt, he said that he did that like 86 times. And to get it right, and they used take number 2. You never know. You just do it until they say, okay, that's good.
And Jason, quick little thing you said about the whole outside black and white Goofy thing. Were you implying that like it's a sort of puberty trait instead of voice cracking, it's Goofy laughing in that bloodline?
That's right. That's what I said.
Hey guys.
What's happening?
So there was a discussion on social media around 2021, 2022 about a Goofy movie. And so much so that Donald Glover had a season 4, the full documentary of the making of the Goofy movie.
Yes.
Now, Disney inadvertently made one of the blackest animated movies ever on accident. So I was just curious if you guys, when it was being made, I guess, did you guys like kind of feel like, telling him it was going to be like resonate a certain way, or did it feel that way? And if you guys have even seen any of the feedback over the past like year or two of how it resonated with that community.
Did you ask us if we knew about it?
Yeah, like like I guess like when you guys reported it, did it feel a certain way, or it's just like, oh, this is just an animated movie, versus like seeing if you saw any of the feedback from like the past year or two.
Gotcha.
Well, no, when you're actually doing a movie, you don't even know if it's going to be made or released, and you don't get a sense of the flow too much. You try and get as much as you can from the director and the lines and just the script and see which way. But, these things take on a life of their own. Otherwise, every movie would be a big hit. They can't really predict this stuff. It's you people, it's the fans that really define what a movie becomes when it's released. And I'm just delighted that a Goofy movie, after 28 years since it's been released, is still as popular as it is. And so we got to thank the fans for that. But we just kind of do our lines, and we're in the dark quite a bit when we do movies. We don't hear the other lines. We don't hear the other actors. Today, when I started in doing like Goof Troop was my first series, we were all in the studio at the same time doing it like a radio play. And some of a Goofy movie we did record together, but then again, we came back and we did the lines solo. You never know which lines they're going to take or which takes they're going to use in the movie until you see the movie. So we have no real idea until the movie comes out and you go, hey, that's a good movie. Or, oh, that sucks. You know, you never know. And so, yeah, I never got a sense of any of that.
Did you see that Empire episode? Not Empire.
I have not.
Atlanta.
Yeah,
Episode of
I've
Atlanta.
heard about it. I have not seen it.
See, we knew about it ahead of time because we had to
Yeah.
sign things saying they could use a clip from the movie.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't surprised. I was like, oh, I know what they're doing. Because I've heard that. I love the ownership that people take over their own
Yeah.
fandom. And I've heard the theory that, you know, it's
Yeah,
the
I've
blackest
heard that.
movie ever. I'm like, I love that. And if you haven't seen the episode of Atlanta, it's wonderful. It's wonderfully outstanding. It's a great, it just warms my heart. It's like, wow, you know, you work on this thing 20 some years ago. It's a fun gig. You have no idea how people are going to embrace it. And now look how it's spiraling out in so many different factions. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, my wife, it was so well done. My wife actually looked at it. I was like, no, baby, no, that was amazing.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right, we got about 5 more minutes, okay?
Speed round.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so I was gonna ask Jason, I know you played Nelson in Full House, and, so I know you played Nelson in Full House, and you also voice acted
Yes.
Max. So which one did you like better, the acting on stage or the voice acting?
Oh, you know, it's first off, thank you for that question, and thanks for being Team Nelson. Yeah, Team Nelson, yay! Heck with that Viper guy, but you went for True Love, and I dig that because he's Aladdin, and I like Aladdin. I just like acting. To me, and we were talking about, you know, it's night and day, and technically it's night and day. You know, you show up on a set, put on wardrobe, you gotta get there at 6 a.m. You gotta memorize lines. You go to voiceover, I can wear my PJs. I don't gotta memorize anything. But it's everything is coming from here, you know, and it's just playing pretend, and it's so much fun. And despite the technical difficulties, to me, it's both the same. And I love them both. I can't pick just one. I like attention in any form. Thank you.
So it's a little silly.
I love it.
Alright, so you were performing a heist in Disneyland or Disney World, either one. What are you stealing and why?
What are you stealing at Disneyland or Disney World? I'm stealing the entire Indiana Jones and the Temple of Forbidden Eye ride.
Yeah.
So I can ride it anytime I want, and nobody else can ride it with me. No, maybe you can.
I think I would take the Sword in the Stone from the Carousel Plaza at Disneyland, and I would have that somewhere in my
Just the
backyard.
stone?
The anvil
Anvil
that
with
they
the
have is
sword
just
in it,
stone
that
that
thing.
sorted.
Yeah.
Because that way I can figure out where the button is.
I was gonna say I would steal one of the steam locomotives, but those would be really hard to get out. So I'd probably take the Main Street Fire Station. I feel like I could drive that home pretty easily.
Oh, if I could steal anything, it'd be the Haunted Mansion.
Yes. What about you? What would you steal?
Yeah.
Probably on the mansion, I'll come with you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are you guys gonna keep that when you get it home?
It is home.
Like the worst foods you can't.
I'd live in.
We got a little one.
Thanks for ruining this hypothetical question.
I was
Yeah.
trying to approach it very
Logically,
I can hide a fire truck.
I'm like, bro, I'll help you
You guys
heist
gonna
that
hide a
train.
temple.
Okay. Then I'd get a little Halloween model of the.
There you go.
That's the realistic.
Or you can
Look what you've done, young lady. You've set us against each other.
This is gonna
Climb
argue
up that.
all day.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Young man, come back.
How did you start acting?
old did you start?
How old were you, Bradley?
I started acting when I was almost 7. I started in August and I turned 7 in October, and that was with a TV commercial. And then I started voice acting when about 6 months later, I was 7 years old when I started.
Professionally, I started acting when I was 26. That's when I auditioned and was cast as Mickey Mouse.
I had a career way before Goofy. I was a DJ, radio, did radio for a number of years. I did stand-up comedy for about 7 years before moving to California. So I didn't actually get the voice of Goofy till I was nearly 35 years old. So it was a long time until I got that big break. And that's why I'm hanging on to it as long as I can.
So you're in your 30s?
Yes, I am.
I was 11. How old are you? 8. Dig it. Never too young to start. Parents, highly
Got 3
recommend.
more
Nah, I don't
years.
know. Do you want to be an actor, young lad? Young lad?
Young lad?
No. Okay. What's happening?
So my question is, how did it feel the first time you ever saw your characters being brought to life with your voices on the big screen?
Oh my God! Can I start? I'm sorry.
Sure.
When I was 11. The first cartoon I ever booked was Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears. Yes. And I played Kevin. And I was one of several because we all kept going through puberty and not sounding like kids. But like what a treat, man! Because I watched that cartoon, and then I'm recording it, and then like months later, I'm like watching it on Saturday morning cartoons. Get up early, got my cereal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's me! It's my voice! That's me coming out. I'm in a cartoon. I made it. Yeah, blew my mind. Love it. Still blows my mind.
Let's see, and what was the question?
When you finally saw
what
Goofy
something-
with your voice coming out of his mouth,
When
how
I
did you feel?
first saw Goofy coming out of, it had been on television. I'm probably in Goof Troop, and but that actually before that, yeah, it's probably in Goof Troop. I guess I'm trying to remember. The first movie that I actually had anything to do with, I did background voices in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's right.
And seeing that movie in theater and hearing my voice was just the coolest ever. I'd been on television before. When I lived in Dallas, I did a movie, RoboCop, the original RoboCop, and I'm an on-the-street reporter. So I have a couple of neat scenes to camera, and that was an exciting experience in itself. And that was really a big, because I saw that at Mann's Chinese Theater in Hollywood for the first time, and that was like just overwhelming. And then when I saw a Goofy movie, or Prince and the Pauper was the first animated thing I saw on a screen, a big screen with an audience. And that's really cool because you get to enjoy it along with everyone else in the audience. That was just a mind blow. Yeah.
We have time?
We got like 2 minutes.
I'm gonna take up 1 minute and 45. I'll just say this. I can't remember the first time I saw it on screen, but I do so many things as Mickey. I probably heard myself in a parade at the parks first. And yes, sharing the same surrealness of it, it's exciting. But I will admit that being the Mickey fan that I am, it took me years before I stopped critiquing myself. Typically, my reaction was, like, I wish I could do that.
I was, because I was still so young, I didn't really understand how important what I was doing in that booth was. I didn't get it. It didn't register that I was going to be a part of something that affects so many people for so long. So it didn't carry any real weight until I saw it, and I went, this is going to follow me for the rest of my life in the best possible way.
Thank you guys so much. Got time for one more question, guys. One more question. I'm sorry. It's 3:55.
All right.
Yes.
So we're like right on time.
I know that you might create Shadow and Sonic 3 on the details on that.
For Jason, you might play Shadow in Sonic 3. Any
Oh,
details on that?
my man, I don't know. I think someone put that on the internet without my asking. I'm not affiliated with that project. If I knew more, I would tell you. I'm so sorry. And we just he's just crushed. So, wow, look at that walk of sadness. Look at that. Wow.
All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for coming. One more applause for these guys. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Outstanding.
Picture you guys all real fast.
Yes.
Photo.
Yes.
All right, let's go. Can you do one with mine, please? One more with
Yes, sir.
mine.
Okay. Oh, yes.